Good morning, everybody. It is 8:30 a.m., March 18th, 2025. It's Delta County Board of County Commissioners regular meeting. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any additions or edits to our agenda?
So item number one, under Commissioner Business, we will postpone till the first meeting in Monday in April, and then item number 5, we will remove.
Thank you. Terry, anything else?
Yes.
Very good. The agenda will stand as amended. Constituent time. Would anybody like to visit the county commissioners? Anybody online?
No, sir.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to County Clerk Terry Stevenson.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have the minutes for the March 4th, 2025 BOCC regular meeting. Were there any changes, additions, or deletions?
I have none.
None here.
Okay, thank you. I also have for your consideration an application for a Colorado liquor sales room for DRM Holdings, doing business as Mesa Winds Winery. The location of the sales room will be at 29428 Highway 92 on May 15th, 2025, from 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. I received all necessary documentation for the temporary license and would recommend approval.
Gentlemen, any questions or comments on that one?
No.
Have none. What would be the will of the board?
Well, I'll move that we approve the application for a Colorado liquor sales room for DRM Holdings Limited, DBA Mesa Winds Winery. Location of the sales room is 29428 Highway 92, Hotchkiss, on May 15th, 2025, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
I will second that motion.
Any further? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Commissioner Business.
Okay, move to item number 2, then board consideration of Amy Crick to serve as the Business Loan Fund Committee on behalf of Delta County for Region 10. Delta County, as well as other counties, have the ability to put 2 people on the Business Loan Committee at Region 10, and that has been vacant for quite some time. Amy Crick has indicated that she would be willing to serve on that committee. She currently serves as the Community Rural Development for USDA here in Delta. And prior to that, then Amy was at First Colorado National Bank. And so highly qualified individual to look at that and provide that loan experience as well as business experience to represent Delta County on that committee.
Any questions there, gentlemen? I do recommend Amy for this position also.
I will move that we move to have Amy Crick serve on the board, the Business Loan Fund Committee on behalf of Delta County for Region 10.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So done.
Next is Department of Local Affairs recognition of Delta County's completion of the security entrance to the courthouse.
Gentlemen, I don't know if you remember, but DOLA was a big partner in getting the funding to do the security remodel at the front of the courthouse there. And it is complete. Recently, I was visiting with Dana Hlavik, and he presented me with this plaque. I'd like to share it with the county and have it installed over at the courthouse. So I think Lindsay would like a photo up here, and Terry, I'd like for you to join us. I'd actually like you to hold.
Oops. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Could you read that out loud?
Sure. Congratulations, Delta County Courthouse Lobby Security Remodel. DOLA is proud to play a part through the Energy and Mineral Impact Assistance Fund, strengthening Colorado communities. Very
Thank
nice. Very nice.
Well,
Do you want me to take it?
We could have Brian install it. Yeah.
And I would like to add that we are very thankful every day to have that. It's been much safer for us. Thank you.
Okay, next is consideration of a resolution designating a project director and approving the grant agreement for North Fork Valley Airport runway slope repair. Tim McCracken, County Engineer, is here.
Good morning, board.
Good morning.
For your consideration, is the grant award letter and, resolution, naming Scott Sheets as the project director and authorizing the chair to sign the, grant award letter via DocuSign as well. The grant is for the North Fork Valley Airport's runway slope. There's some drainage issues there that's causing some pavement to crumble. So this project is being funded through a grant through the state of Colorado Aeronautics Division. The grant amount is $180,000. Local match is $20,000. 75% of that should be covered by is supposed to be covered by the town of Paonia, and $5,000 would be covered by Delta County. Do you have any questions?
Any questions on this project, commissioners?
In the town of Paonia.
They're aware of it, yes.
Got it in their budget.
Yep.
Okay. Good deal.
I've been out there multiple times with Ken looking at this, and it's time, probably past time to get this work done. Before we lose the runway. Both ends are deteriorating.
Well, I move that we approve the resolution designated Scott Sheets as the project director and approving the grant agreement for the North Fork Valley Airport runway slope repair, and for the chairman to sign the document, and this will be resolution number
8.
8.
You gotta make a second here, please sign it.
I will second that motion.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? All in favor?
Aye.
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 What's the time frame on it, Tim?
The engineering can't start until we sign the award letter, so the engineering should start as soon as we decide to go to Lochner, our airport engineers. So they'll work on the design, probably construction later this year. Early fall, probably.
Will it, can planes still land and take off?
Probably
We'll
not.
Probably close the airport for the work. It's not as busy as Blake Field, but I don't know. So that will be part of the design work. They'll let us know if they want it closed, but I suspect we'll close it for a week or two. I mean, you can still land on the runway. It's not to a point where it's unusable, but we want to prevent it from getting there. So they could probably, when they're done working for the day, people could use the runway.
Keep us informed on what schedule as we go through it.
Perry and Tim, it looks like there was an exhibit, second exhibit of the 17-page grant award, assurances, et cetera, that probably is also integrated into that resolution.
That will be sent DocuSign.
That's fine, but it
Okay.
probably should be part of Terry's,
So once it's linked in that portion, if you could send it to me.
Yep, I can do that.
record the resolution.
The very least exhibit C, because I think it's referenced in your resolution.
And that's exhibit B we're signing there.
Well, exhibit B looks like it's just the same thing as the resolution. I think it's a sample resolution. But exhibit C is the grant assurance that is referenced in the resolution.
And that DocuSign will come to you, Wendell.
Yes,
So when you sign it, let me know and we'll send it over to Terry.
very good.
You keep the originals.
I do.
I'll let you keep it.
So, Sean, we don't need to record that, just the.
Well, I don't necessarily want to step in, whatever Tim's comfortable with, but it looks to me like that's simply a duplication of
Lindsay, I
the
sent you an email.
resolution.
So just see.
I think B is actually kind of a sample resolution that they give in order to help build one.
Wait, Next is board's consideration regarding Blakefield Beacon Replacement Award Recommendation Letter. County Engineer Tim McCracken is here as well.
So this is for the rotating beacon at Blakefield. There was one bid received on October 24, 2024. The bid was for construction total was $67,850. Engineering total was $32,610 for a total project cost of $100,460. This is also grant funded. Local match is $10,046. This project the engineering is complete, I believe, and it's ready for construction once we award a bid. There's only one bid, and that's Pro Electric Contractors. A total of 2 potential bidders were sent the request, but only one responded, and that was Pro Electric. I agree with Lochner on the on awarding the job to Pro Electric.
Sounds like it's a pretty substantial project to replace this beacon.
It's a summertime job. It can be completed in a month or two, I think. The beacon is on the south west end of the
Can you
airport.
point on that picture behind you?
So beacon's gonna be right here.
Okay.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hangars south of the beacon on that would be the southwest corner of the 300 block of Blakefield.
We're replacing a beacon, so there's our beacon there now.
Yes, it's an old beacon. It's been there quite a while. 100 block? Okay. Yeah, this is the 300. All right. Good job.
That's the old stuff.
Any other questions for Tim on this project, gentlemen?
Make a move that we award the bid for the replacement of the airport beacon to Pro Electrical Contractors. The amount of, we need the full amount of that or just the construction total?
Total project cost?
Total project cost of $100,460.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion, gentlemen? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No doubt.
Thank you.
Next for
you.
your consideration is to ratify the warrants.
I'm gonna get my computer there. I move that we ratify the warrants from the general fund, road and bridge fund, and from the various funds paid by warrant numbers 153684 through 153941 and ACH transaction 1000 through 1026 from February 1st, 2025 to February 28th, 2025, totaling $1,890,837.70 in accounts payable and $1,853,853.58 in monthly county human services and health department February 2025 payroll for items budgeted and approved per Delta County policy.
I will second that motion.
Anything further on this? All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Let's pay the bill.
Yeah.
And next, Lindsay will review your schedule for the remaining part of March.
So this afternoon, we have a work session with Road and Bridge, 1:30 to 3:30 here at 560. We also have a jail tour from 3 to 4. March,
We may need to make that at 2:30.
okay.
We have a Board of Health meeting also.
For the health meeting.
No,
2 of you.
two, yeah.
At 3:30.
We have March 19th. agency. Rifle board and EBB meeting. Thursday, March 20th, agency legislative, that's on Zoom. Monday,
There's a line through it. for some reason.
line through yours.
It's still scheduled, so I'm not sure.
Unless you declined it.
Oh. Thing I did, why did I do that?
Yeah, you put a no there.
Just click
Yeah.
yes. Should come back.
Yeah.
Okay,
You good?
good.
Okay. Monday, March 24th, 3:30 to 5 PM, a One Delta County Board meeting here at 560 Dodge Street. March 26th, 11 AM to 12:30, as a planning, LUC and zoning work session at 560 Dodge Street. Thursday, March 27th, 7:30 to 8:30 AM, coffee with commissioner, as with Wendell Coombs at Drive-Thru and Limbs and Hotchkiss. Thursday, March 27th, 8:30 to 10 AM is agency call on Zoom. Tuesday, April 1st, 8:30 to noon is our next Florida County Commissioners regular scheduled meeting here at 560 Dodge Street. Tuesday, April 1st, 1 to 3 is the Commissioners session, the West Region. So here at 560 Dodge Street, and 6 to 8 PM that day, first looking for, that's at Service Creek Community Church. That really rounds out the end of March, beginning of April.
On Friday, March 28th, there's a Veterans Administration dinner at Paonia. And
The Wilson Head Post be at that room.
I'll be going and Wendell will be going. And Craig, you're invited.
On the 28th,
Mhm.
at what time?
6.
6.
I think I'm gonna be gone that
I
day.
think it's one of the Vietnam veterans.
Headed Vietnam veterans eat free. And it's at the Wilson Head Post. Anything else for us, Lindsay?
Mr.
Thank you. I'm going to read the jail report. This is jail report for Monday, March 10th, 2025. Male inmates, county jail 32, female inmates, county jail 5, male inmates, Department of Corrections 3, female inmates, Department of Corrections 3, total of 43. Average daily inmate for the week of March 3rd through March 10th was 51.34. Is there any other business before the commissioners this morning? Hearing none, we will recess until 10 o'clock.
9:30,
9:30.
Human Resources.
Oh, 9:30, yes. Thank you. Well, it is 9:30. We're gonna come back on. Thanks, Mike. It is 9:30. We're gonna come back on the record. We have Annie Gallegos, Director Gallegos. Welcome you and your team.
Thank you. Good morning. We will start as usual with the financials this morning. Payables report. Nothing to highlight specifically on it, but are there any questions on the page?
I have none.
Nicole, last time we got together, you were working on a couple of the grants to better understand the distribution of funds. Do you remember that? Okay.
I remember you asked me how the liability and worker comp insurance was calculated, and it is salaries based from 2023. I have that one. I don't remember.
Okay, maybe that was the one I was thinking.
I don't think we have any grants currently that are, we just have the one, which I think we can touch on.
Okay.
For the budget, we're supposed to be sitting around 8.33, we're at 8.55, and that's because of the January expenditure for liability insurance and work comp. It's always high at the beginning of the year, and then we go down to our little happy medium. Do you have any questions on those?
Nope.
Or is for LEAP, we are publishing with the DCI and High Country Shopper, the little state created ad and from now until April. And we will be also in the magazine that the DCI puts out with all the services within the Montrose Delta County area. There hasn't been very many applications, and we think, and so does the state people think, because it's warmer on our side, so people aren't needing those services as much, so they're not applying.
So here.
I'm boring today. Any questions?
Anything else, Nicole? So where are you at with LEAP now? Tell me again.
We're just working on the outreach ads.
Yeah, what about participation rate?
I did not run those numbers because they weren't anything, like they were just trending normal. I didn't see any difference in the denials or anything like that, but I did forget to write them down because I was working on a different project to save us money on a different, different, one.
Thank you.
Perfect. We'll move on to self-sufficiency. So I just want to thank the board again for signing that letter in support of the Child Care Assistance Program and the support for the community. And so as a part of that, because there is an anticipation that there at any time in the next even 5 years or so, we could anticipate potentially an enrollment freeze or wait list. And so we needed to develop a policy. So Lori worked on the policy, developed those pieces and sent it to the state, and perfect in state timing. They got back to us after our notes and said, hey, can you tweak a few things? So this policy that we submitted to you, we have a few corrections, and Lori can go over that, but it's just a few wording.
Yeah, in the policy itself, it was just removing where the policy piece, where it talks as per Department of Early Childhood, CCAP rules and regulations. The following populations are exempt from the enrollment wait list. We had listed TANF plans on there, but they recently changed that to not include TANF clients, so they are subject to the wait list as well.
And previously that had been a population that we had to continue to serve, and they have now issued that as of, I think, this month. I think it was like the 21st, it'll go into effect, in which, that population is exempt from the.
And that's a good thing, right?
I think that, in theory, it's going to help, counties that when they're looking at their over expenditures for this year or the next few years, it will. But the intention should be for it to come back. I think that's the anticipation from the state, is to add that population back in when they're able to balance out the funding struggles that are happening right now, so that, TANF families do have access to childcare going forward. So we can still, they are exempt from that population, but we'll still continue to serve them. And, depending on when the funding, changes occur, and if they do, that may be a piece we have to amend back into the policy in future years.
And right now, we don't have any TANF childcare cases open. So it's not really a large population for us.
Is there an action item you need us to do?
Sign the.
We do, yeah, we do have the policy. I just wanted to make sure you knew of the few changes that we've added to that, since that memo had come out.
Yeah, the TANF on the application piece, they did take out the TANF piece again, that, and then just slightly change something on the back side.
So I have the policy, and then there's also the application. If you want to read that.
Wait a minute.
Perfect. So we did look at our numbers, and Lori was able to sit down and go through our numbers as related to CCAP. And so that's the table broken up in our reports there. It still anticipates that we'll still have some under costs and some variance, as long as allocations stay the same way, and there's no other changes to the program. So if that stays the same way and we don't grow significantly in numbers or things like that, then that's what our projected numbers are for now. Next, with eligibility, we were able to add some staff recently, over the last couple of months that had, some, like expertise within eligibility processing from other counties. And so that has been helpful, to the workload for those staff. We are still hiring, in that department, and we will until we're filled. But at this time, they're still, processing applications and developing. One of the things that started was with, when we restructured and had 3 supervisors, we talked about specializations, and one of them was the QA/QI process. And so we have her starting to get into some of those pieces, just really at a slow rate.
QA/QI.
So quality assurance, so doing audits and internal reviews and cases and things like that. And so we're gonna implement those pieces little by little as we go, just because supervisors are still processing cases and things like that at this time. One of the other specializations, we have a supervisor who's done some outreach, and her and Lori were able to go to the Delta Family Center and have some contact with them, do some training. They also did some of that with the health department as well. And so they've been helping to get information out of benefits that we have, how to apply, what does that look like, and things like that, to provide outreach to the community that we hadn't before with other agencies. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. That was just plugging along, working hard, trying to keeping up our numbers, and our last CSTAT numbers were actually pretty good. We were all above 95% on everything, I think, except for maybe one. But those numbers are skewed depending on how many cases the state pulls. So if it's a low number of cases and we have one error, then it drops us down pretty drastically. But for the most part, we're keeping up with the numbers, and the staff is doing well. We have a good group, so.
Are you fully staffed?
No. We still have about, I think it's 3 technicians. We have a recovery technician position, which that position handles our recovery of overpaid benefits, and also works with the fraud referrals. And then we also have the case manager that works with TANF and CCAP. Still down a little bit.
That is down a little bit.
The recovery technician is sometimes a hard position to fill because it is a level 2 classification, because you have to know the rules and understand all of the eligibility programs internally in order to then dig into those things. So sometimes that's a harder position to fill. So it's been vacant for a little bit. And the other part of it is that, you know, the caseload that you're carrying is one of consistently investigating, and you know, that's a difficult population to be working with exclusively all the time, right? So there's that piece of it as well. Moving on to child welfare. So we have been working recently with the county attorney's office. They have done some preparation for cases and some training, and Lynette has helped with the arranging of those. As litigation continues in those cases, we are aware that sometimes, especially with newer caseworkers, that preparation can be very helpful going into trials, going into contested hearings, and having the ability to work through some of those nervous parts, right? And answer questions that can be tough to answer sometimes. And what is your opinion on this? And things like that. So they've been doing some prep there, which has been really helpful. And then Lynette, we worked with a partnership for the Center for Workforce Excellence and Leadership. So they are a part of the state in which they help with recruitment and retention, and they can help fund part of education for a bachelor's in social work or a master's in social work. And they also provide interns. So we're looking forward to what opportunities that brings. We might have an intern that would be interested. And that position, that would start in August of this next year, but we would have the initial conversations here in the spring with HR and things like that to bring in those individuals. And they're not a paid internship because they're hours that are required for their degree, but they are CMU students and they are living here in Delta County. So we're hopeful to bring those individuals in, and one of them actually is interested in the broad scope of human services. So it could be a unique opportunity to spend time in each department, just not as exclusive to child welfare. And then do you want to add anything for child welfare?
Child welfare is fully staffed, has been consistently now for a while, and that is starting to show in the quality of the work and the proficiency in making sure that services are in place and things don't get missed for families. And I think that is also helping out in court. And also, I don't want to say it, but tomorrow is my last day.
Oh, God.
Had a lot of personal things happen, and I'm gonna take some time for myself.
Well, we're gonna miss you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Lynette, thank you for all the work you've put into this.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
On adult protection, where do your referrals come from?
Anywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh, is that law enforcement, nursing homes?
Neighbors, family friends, family members.
Yep, and that, so you guys are aware, and maybe her actual last full day, but we are hanging on to her actually in a different capacity in order to provide services and still work with the unit for adult protection and child welfare as well, potentially. So we've defined some needs that we know that we have with regards to outside providers and things like that. For example, parenting. We don't have a very strong curriculum in parenting class. With adult protection, they are going to be short caseworker. One is an academy now. So Lynette's actually going to stay on a little bit, just in a different capacity and really helping the unit. So she'll still be here.
Thank you for doing that.
We appreciate it very
You
much.
don't leave them in that big of a lurch.
And I think, you know, with her expertise and experience and education in so many of child welfare issues for so long, she's able to see those needs that we have that we can't always fulfill for families. And so how can she help in that gap period for families? So, yeah. So the last thing I have is for adult protection. We just talked about the caseworker there. We have one in academy currently. I think she's in her last, was it last week was her last one?
Yeah.
So she'll be back at the unit now and be able to start taking on cases and learning how to do assessments. The state is hopefully piloting soon their assessment process. It used to take I mean, when you complete an assessment on an individual, it's 73 options you have to fill out and describe for the functioning of an adult. And that is a lot. For example, my favorite is if you see an individual drive away in a car, you would just mark on the assessment that yes, they're able to drive. But if I don't put in the assessment that you witness the individual get into the car and start it, it's a ding and you don't get that as marked correct, basically. So we're hoping that that'll start soon to really help the workload, because so much of those things can be captured much easier for a full picture.
Absolutely.
So,
And we have another adult protection worker starting today.
yes.
So adult protection will finally be fully staffed.
It's been a long time coming.
Mhm.
It's been posted since August.
Mhm.
And where will that person be housed? Here.
Yeah.
We are exploring some options of knowing that there's space up in the North Fork that we're not utilizing. If there's a way for technicians or caseworkers or adult protection to, spend some time up there, spend a day up there, things like that. When they have, say, you have 5 clients up there, can you schedule all your visits on that one day? Go see those families or individuals and be able to have access to the annex as well. So we're doing some exploration that way, but hopefully that'll come to fruition too. So Lynn's not so lonely. But that is the report that I have for today. Any questions, comments?
On eligibility, it says here that you've had or the state has had some fraud cases. Large size families applying from out-of-state addresses.
Yeah, so they're seeing applications coming over Peak, which is our online application system. And the mailing address is being listed as either Georgia's primarily the state that they're seeing those addresses come from.
Georgia.
Some Alabama. But they're large size families with lots of children. And they are using social security numbers that either don't exist or belong to somebody else. So when we run through the system, those are verified through social security. And so then that gives a red flag. And most of the counties that are seeing those are larger counties on the eastern side of the state. Their description of their experience with these families is that they get very combative and very just kind of complain and then want to escalate their case to either their director or a supervisor to try to get those pushed through so that they're receiving benefits. I know, I think it's El Paso County, they are doing an investigation. They've had a case since 2019 that fits this profile that they've been investigating. They think that they know who the person is, and so they're working on that, trying to see if this individual is also applying and through other counties.
How could a person from Georgia apply for Colorado benefits?
They just sign on, create an account on Peak, and then.
So it's not legitimate at all?
No.
But with Peak, depending on what you put in there, at times you can get real-time eligibility. And so then that's when the county that receives that application has to go in and ask for all the verifications, all those things to ensure that that's accurate. And so that's the work that's being done by counties initially.
Yeah, so the state is actually, they've developed a spreadsheet to track these cases as counties come across these, there's logging them in, and it's thousands of dollars that they're already have been issued as far as benefits go. So they're accumulating this information, and we'll turn that over to FNS, and they will look at doing a larger investigation and hopefully criminal prosecution.
As if you didn't have a big enough caseload.
Right.
Is there an interstate organization that helps track these?
I think individual counties are doing that right now and then just reporting it to the state. FNS is the federal, so I'm not sure what their processes would be, but.
You have any update on the Florida case at all?
I was gonna ask that too.
Yes, we actually
Talking about
do.
out-of-state stuff.
So Lynette held a couple meetings over this last month and a half And they are hopefully by the end of this week going to be licensed as a PRTF, which means that HICPOF will recognize that licensure type and be able to negotiate a rate with them and speak to them about what that looks like. So we will not be paying his daily rate all out of our allocation. So we did have confirmation from the state for previous payment that they're helping us out with, but then this piece will then help long-term, because the reality is, we did have 3 state folks come and meet with us and sit through a provider meeting with him to recognize his true needs. And so we also have submitted applications to the facility here in Colorado, a new referral to them. And now that there was a workaround, we also had to do, and Lynette completed that about 2 weeks ago or so. And that workaround within the trail system allowed the Ray to recognize this individual, so they can also start with, again, looking at, even if it's another out-of-state placement, a licensed, out-of-state placement that also picks up more of that rate, and potentially the CHIRP waiver. And once he goes on the CHIRP waiver, that will successfully allow the placement to be funded and work in the long term, because it's really meant to address that waiver will follow him and his needs. So much progress has been made. We're very, very thankful.
Good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Great.
And I want to give a shout out to Annie when going to CCI and working on these legislative bills that are being proposed. She has been a wonderful resource, and appreciate your professional experience there.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's way above my pay grade.
we do spend a lot of time each week going through those bills, but I think it's worth it, especially the changes that we're seeing. And good news, the JBC did just last Friday vote to look at legislation to delay the QRTP and PRTF change for another year to 2, but it needed legislation to make that change. And so they voted to propose that. So we will see, cross our fingers, what happens. But if that's the case, it really slows down that process, which is essential for all counties in the state as a whole. So,
Well, I appreciate you.
yeah, thank you. All right, then that's it. Have a great rest of your day.
And Lynette,
Yeah, thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
how long have you been with Delta County?
I've been with Delta County a little over a year. It's 26 years in child welfare.
Yeah. You've done a great job.
Thank
You're
you.
gonna be missed.
I will miss it too.
Well, text us if you need bail money.
That's fine.
Make sure I'm good at that.
Yeah, there you go.
Having no other business before the board, we will recess until 10 o'clock where we have the public hearing. Thank you. Well, folks, I have 10 o'clock. We're going to come back on the record. We have a public hearing regarding the 2024 Land Use Code. This is the board's consideration and review of the Planning Commission's proposed amendment to the Land Use Code in relation to natural medicine businesses. Again, this is not, we are not adopting a land use code. We're taking public comment regarding natural medicine regulation and legalization. For the record, Proposition 122 was passed in 2022 regarding Natural Medicine Health Act, which directed the legislature to develop a regulatory program and decriminalize the use of certain drugs. They came up with SB 23290 regarding natural medicine to be defined as psilocybin, psilocybin, ibogaine, mescaline, and dimethyltryptamine, which is also known as DMT. It was, there's, in no way does this affect any personal use of those products. This is only commercial. This has nothing to do with vitamins or natural herbs currently in use. Our planning commission spent quite a bit of time looking at this with Sean's help and has come up with some recommendations. Sean?
Thank you, Commissioner.
Just to kind of continue with your narrative to kind of set the setting a little bit, the Department of Revenue is appointed with the task of regulating natural medicine businesses, licensing them, which they started to do at the beginning of this year. So they license facilitators and facilities. Businesses may be established for the cultivation, manufacturing, and testing of natural medicines. Healing centers also, which are places where facilitators may administer natural medicines to participants, may also now be established. However, local jurisdictions may determine the place, time, and manner of operations of natural medicine businesses within the jurisdiction. However, local jurisdictions may not adopt ordinances or regulations that would result in prohibiting altogether these establishments from locating somewhere within their jurisdiction. So the intent of this proposed amendment that the Planning Commission is recommending is to define the place, time, and manner of operations of natural medicine businesses in unincorporated Delta County. This is a matter of some urgency, as applications for licenses are already being processed by the Department of Revenue, and their issuance will be based on the land use regulations in place by the local jurisdiction at the time of application. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here and show you the proposed amendments if you would like.
Excuse me just a minute, I did something to my computer. Went to that.
There are, the Planning Commission proposes this amendment and the amendment adds content to 3 areas of the land use code. The first area is in chapter 2 in table 2B that lays out our zoning districts and the commercial land use categories, and then tells what kind of permit is needed to do that land use activity in a particular zone. The second area is in use specific standards that are related to that particular use for natural medicine businesses. And the third area is in the area of our definitions. We added some definitions that were appropriate to defining terms that we used in the use specific standards.
Would you scroll so we can see that?
Yeah, I'll go through each section if you'd like. Is that how you'd like me to present?
Yeah, let's look at table 2B first.
Okay.
Thank you.
So table 2B, we stuck in 2 categories here. We've stuck in natural medicine business healing center, being the consumption side, if you will, of the equation, where facilitators administer the natural medicines to participants and oversee their experience with counseling. Then the other category is natural medicine business for cultivation, manufacturing, or testing facilities. Broke those out, the Planning Commission broke those out because in case you wanted to permit them differently in different zones. Any questions on that?
I have none.
And currently, the Planning Commission proposed that the A35, A20, A5, and rural industrial commercial all be conditional use permits for both categories. Okay. Then in the same chapter, chapter 2, in section 4, under use specific standards, it will add another point, point D for, it's the section for commercial use. There's 2 things that have been, well, there's 1 thing currently in there. Sexually oriented businesses, and then the Planning Commission's proposing is a second category of natural medicine businesses. So that's where it falls in the flow here. This first specific standard is a little dense, and it's just really a reciting of already, put in place statute regulations, but it sets the setting for what comes after. Natural medicine businesses are regulated under the authority of statute 4450-101 through 904. Natural medicine businesses shall be licensed according to Colorado, Code of Colorado Regulations 213-1. No natural medicine business involving remuneration as defined in statute 4450-103 without a license from the Natural Medicine Division of the Department of Revenue will be permitted in any zoning district of Delta County. So you gotta have a license. Remuneration, we threw the definition of remuneration in here, just because it's immediately accessible, not somewhere down at the end of the document in the definitions table. Remuneration means anything of value, including money, real property, tangible and intangible personal property, contract right, chosen action, service, and any right of use or employment or promise of agreement connected therewith, business promotion or commercial activity. I believe the thinking here was that if we make this really explicit here and use specific standards, then we have something to really draw off of for both for education, for one, but also for compliance. You know, the state can hold businesses accountable that haven't gotten a license, but if we have this in our land use code, that gives us an immediate ability to go and, you know, hold somebody accountable, be compliant. In addition to all other applicable standards of this land use code, natural medicine businesses shall meet the following standards. A, no natural medicine business shall be located within 1,000 feet of a daycare or school measured by the setbacks as outlined in the statute. Setbacks related to natural medicine businesses shall not be modified from the state regulations and are not eligible for a variance to the code. So this is, again, a restatement, I think, of the setbacks that are just currently in place. B, all natural medicine businesses shall provide a transportation management plan that ensures safe access for patients and emergency services and safe operation on adjacent roads. This includes, but is not limited to, 1, proof of adequate proximity to emergency services, 2, unobstructed access for emergency services, and 3, healing centers shall ensure that patients have a discharge plan and safe post-treatment transportation plan that ensures their safe transport from the facility to their destination. This is something that's alluded to in the statute, but it wasn't explicitly drawn out in the regulations for licensing. And we felt like, the Plan Commission felt like this was an appropriate safety measure. Point C, no natural medicine business, cultivation, manufacturing, or testing facilities or healing center, just to be explicit, shall be operated as a home business. I believe this is also spelled out in the regulations. There's no licensing of a business in home for natural medicine, but I think we weren't finding that really clearly in the regs, so now it's here, making it very explicit. Point D, all natural medicine businesses shall have a hardwired communication system for phone and internet access. Emergency contact numbers must be obviously and visibly posted for facilitators and participants. Again, this was a Planning Commission addition in terms of a manner of operation. There are regulations within the licensing regulation that require communication, but this is a little bit more explicit and more detailed in terms of what exactly we're requiring for communication.
So the business would have to dig a trench from the telephone pole to their house in order to be hardwired in.
I assume so, yeah. I think the concern was that we could have, because they proposed conditionally approving like 835 properties, that perhaps somebody could have a healing center or something in a remote area that doesn't have really good consistent cell reception. And if there was an emergency, you know, they wouldn't be able to contact anyone.
And remember, this only applies to commercial, not personal.
These are businesses, yeah. They're the whole spectrum of personal use that's permitted and is allowed, if you will, by the state without license. But These are natural medicine businesses for remuneration. Last point, manufacturing of natural medicine. Point one, the manufacture of natural medicine includes the use of hazardous materials, including without limitation and by way of example, flammable and combustible liquids, carbon dioxide, and liquefied petroleum gases such as butane is prohibited from residential buildings. Two, hazardous and non-hazardous materials used to manufacture natural medicine shall be stored in a manner so as to mitigate and ensure odors are not detectable beyond the property boundary in which the processing facility is located or the exterior walls of the processing facility associated with the processing of natural medicine. Three, the manufacturer of natural medicine shall meet the requirements of all state life safety codes. Those are all the use-specific standards that were proposed. And then lastly is definition. Do you have any questions about the use-specific standard? No. So lastly, in terms of definitions, these are, I think straight out of either the licensing regulations or the statute. Defined healing center means a facility where an entity is licensed by the state licensing authority pursuant to Article 50 of Title 44 that permits a facilitator to provide and supervise natural medicine services for a participant. And then natural medicine business means any of the following entities licensed pursuant to the Natural Medicine Code: a healing center, a natural medicine cultivation facility, a natural medicine products manufacturer, a natural medicine testing facility. For further definitions, we can refer to the Code of Colorado Regulations for Natural Medicine. Natural medicine cultivation facility means a location where regulated natural medicine is grown, harvested, prepared in order to be transferred and distributed to either a healing center, facilitator, a natural medicine products manufacturer, or to another natural medicine cultivation facility. Natural medicine products manufacturer means a person who manufactures regulated medicine, natural medicine products for transfer to a healing center, facilitator, or another natural medicine products manufacturer. And then natural medicine services means a preparation session, administration session, and integration session as provided pursuant to Article 170 of Title 12. And then natural medicine testing facility means a public or private laboratory licensed or approved by the division to perform testing and research on regulated natural medicine and regulated natural medicine products. Those are all the proposed amendments from the Planning Commission.
Sean, because of the 1,000-foot setback on daycares and schools, there's no definition on that. Certainly, there are many different types of schools and possibly daycares too. Is that something we should consider adding as a good definition?
The definitions of schools and daycares.
It's a question.
We could, there is a registry, of those, state, and so that's, and that's, in our GIS maps. So, I mean, that's the basis upon which we would be using that. And I think that there are, in the regulations for licensing, requirements that the applicant has to identify any schools or childcare facilities within their vicinity of where they're proposing to have their facility and provide maps of that.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit already kind of in place there.
If that's already there, let's not.
Mhm.
Are you aware of any schools that are located within churches? Is that another way we have to maybe look at this? I know of several churches that house schools within their buildings.
Yeah, and some of those are registered and some are not, I assume. Although they probably should be registered if they're at school and within a church, I believe.
I'm not sure. You talk about,
So we do have schools in the land use code, the definition of schools.
Okay.
In the land use code itself and childcare centers.
Okay. Is it applicable to this discussion? Does it provide enough clarity?
Have the attorney weigh in here.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay. Just want clarity. If,
If it helps too, their GIS has prepared a map of identifying in red all the school and childcare facilities. And then you can lay that over the zoning map also. And they also provided like 1,000-foot setbacks from these properties. So if I zoom in here, you can see the red or properties owned by schools or childcare. The area kind of around it is 1,000-foot setback. And then in blue, you have rural, industrial, commercial, and then you have the other zones there, 820, 835, which gives you an idea of where those are located.
that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Sean on this one?
The definition of natural medicine businesses. Got an email from a constituent, wanting that defined. Would that, she says, include licensed naturopaths, registered herbalist, acupuncturist, traditional Chinese medicine practice, massage therapist? Just how far is natural medicine business do we define? Or should we?
Yeah, I think behind the question is, can natural medicine businesses be conflated with other natural medicine businesses that don't include these psychedelic products, right? That's kind of the question. That's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that.
But the term natural medicine is defined in the statute.
It is, yeah.
And it doesn't include those things.
Yeah, it relates to psilocybin, psilocin, ibogaine,
Okay.
mescaline, and dimethyltryptamine. That's how the state defines it.
So the one we're not using those products here outside of this.
In our definition for natural medicine business, it reads this way, means any of the following entities licensed pursuant to the natural medicine code. So it starts off that way and I think that would help to exclude other types of natural medicine establishments. Does that sound reasonable?
Anything else for Sean?
Thanks for putting in the time. I know you guys spent a lot of effort getting to this point, so.
Mr. Bear, would you tell us about the process from here?
Well, as Mr. Gardner indicated, this potential amendment is not for the board today for adoption. This is a kind of a preliminary public hearing for the board to kind of see what the planning commission has been working on, as well as offering members of the public to comment, and so the board can hear some initial feedback on addressing regulations in regard to natural medicine here in Dalton County. So where the board goes from here is up to the board. If the board wants to do continue to have hearings like this, that's fine. If the board wants to do work sessions by themselves, that is fine. If the board wants to do work session and combine a joint work session with the planning commission, that's fine too. If the board wants to send this back to the TC for additional work, that's all fine as well. In any case, once there is, I think, language that is similar to or close to what the board wants to, is likely or to consider for adoption, then the publication requirements and the time requirements, and the whole process contained within Colorado Revised Statute 3028 116 will be followed, which requires publication and timeframe and an additional public hearing. So there's some process to go through, but I think that this is just kind of an initial public hearing for the board to start working on this.
Thank you. Before I open this up for public comment, I would like to make clear the few commenting standards we'd like to hold to. If you don't wish to speak today, certainly you can submit written comments. Individuals who would speak today must speak directly to the Board of County Commissioners. We're here to take public hearing. Please don't speak to the audience. I will call your name and then please come forward to the table. Speakers must introduce themselves and where you live before starting. We're going to hold our comments today to 3 minutes. Lindsay Mitchell will be our timer. She'll let you know when time is running short. And let's be specific to this particular topic today, natural business on the commercial side. Again, this has nothing to do with personal use, but just the commercial use of these psychedelics. Any questions on that?
Good.
So I'm going to open up the public hearing. We have one person signed up in the room, Esther Kuntz. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for hearing me this morning. I'm Esther Kuntz. I reside in Hotchkiss, Colorado. I was glad to hear your planning department use the word urgency. I do believe that there is an urgency to address this issue. Just recently, as a matter of fact, last week on social media, there was a posting in the North Fork area for a workshop on how to grow psychedelic mushrooms. So it is here in Delta County, and I'm glad that you're looking to address this with urgency. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room like to address the commissioners? Anybody online, Lindsay? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Again, I'll urge anybody who would like to submit comments, do so in writing to our planning department. And do so here in the next couple of weeks. With the public hearing closed, I'm going to ask fellow commissioners where you'd like to proceed from here. I think a workshop, I'm really appreciative of what the planning commission has done. I think that's really good work there. They thought this through. Do you wish to have a work session to review it? Maybe clean up definitions if Mr. Bear says needs so.
I would think that would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
I have one other question. I don't know if we have an answer for. Is the State Department of Revenue obligated to notify counties as they're receiving applicants and where those applicants might be coming from? Does anybody know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer to that. It's a good question. I can find out.
Okay.
It is part of their application requirements. When they apply to be a licensed operator, they are required to provide any code regulations or anything for the area that they are applying to.
But
If there are none, the state doesn't get into it. And I don't know that, according to what I've read, that the state will be contacting the jurisdictions. It seems like it's onerous upon the applicant from what I've read.
Other questions on
I will say though, that there is a public page on their site that it shows how many applicants they have in the pipeline. It doesn't define who they are or where they're applying, but
no geography on that?
I don't believe so.
What does Tuesday, the 25th of March look like for a work session? It's a week from today.
It's like it's wide open.
You do have a wildfire work session from 1 to 2:30 already.
We didn't know that.
On March 25th.
Mhm.
You want to do it immediately following that?
Do you have one? I don't think anybody else on.
2:30?
2:30, March 25th.
So done.
And this meeting starts at 1.
Do you think you just need an hour? Or 2 hours?
If you have any other business coming,
How long do you want the meeting on?
1 hour.
1 hour.
I would just like to put on the record, Everett has done a ton of heavy lifting for the documents that you have and for the research and, that a lot of what, Sean and Everett have put together took a lot of research. So I just want you all to know that Everett did a lot of the research here.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything. If there's no other business, we'll adjourn for the day.